The Chinese are just trying to get a semblance of what's happening. Is there an appetite for a deal later this fall? They have no idea. They are desperately trying to figure this out. I think the one entity here that's misreading this is markets. I think markets think that this is the beginning of some snowballing effect towards a deal. It's nothing of the sort. Now, you may see a deal later in the fall, but this is a group of Treasury Department officials who have no authority over trade. They're mid-level. This is not the starting of a deal, of a path towards a deal.
No, but at least it's talking, whereas we had heard from Larry Kudlow that there was silence coming from the other side.
Yeah, and it's reassuring from that point of view. And the other thing is the yuan has been weakening, and this is another opportunity for them to make clear, okay, enough is enough. And, we've talked in the past about how 6.7 is not that big a deal, 6.8 is not that big a deal, 7 obviously is, but 6.9 is too. Because when you hit 6.9, you're suddenly, President Trump has been lording over this overall yuan weakness during his presidency, and that's a way of prodding the bear and making sure there's going to be no deal. So
what would it take to get to a deal? What would be something that both sides would find attractive, or is there anything?
There's one path to a deal. It's based around purchases. It's very much similar to what we were talking about in May, but it would be a little bit different because I think the goalposts for the White House have changed. They realize that 2018...
The president is now talking about IP and other issues, too.
But the IP stuff is... They would have to have a gloss that said something about dealing with IP theft, but that is not easily resolvable.
The Chinese would have to admit that they're stealing IP.
Right, and the Chinese will admit that, but that was the old way. Now it's, the new way is we don't need this. Well, there's a little bit of stuff they could do on IP, but the basis of any deal has to be on purchases. It has to be on getting the 2019 numbers for the trade deficit better than 2018 numbers so that President Trump can run on that in 2020.
I mean, if that's what it is, that doesn't sound like an impossible task for the Chinese. I think this idea of moving goalposts may be a tougher thing.
Well,
thinking you can understand where a deal is and then it changes.
Right. It's that's the key. I mean, if the Chinese think that they have an interlocutor, then they will make a deal. It's a very easy deal for them to push forward. They just don't believe that anybody except the president himself can actually offer up the terms of a deal and hold to them. So that's why there's so much talk about this, Xi-Trump summit, because only Trump can give the Chinese the deal that they think the U.S. will hold itself to.